And it's live. Hey guys, this is me, Apurv Saxena, and Kushagra Gaur doing the perf audit for our next website, which is deviantart.com. So, hey Kush, how's you?
Hey Apurva, I'm good.
So, what has been your response after seeing the response that we have got from our first two perf audits?
So the feedback has been pretty awesome till now. So we have released two case studies till now, and the response from everywhere is pretty good. People are liking it, and performance is something people are interested in. What we want to know. So yeah, that's it.
Cool, yeah. And what about Steve Sodders actually appreciating us? Like
Really,
that was the best moment, right?
yeah, that was really great. Getting appreciation from such a cool guy who's into performance from a long time is was really great.
Exactly. I mean, I started off with actually first reading the high performance websites, and then like coming on to the phase where I actually thought of making performant websites. And like Steve Soros was the first one to actually introduce me to the performance auditing of websites. So like all credit goes to him, right?
Exactly, you cannot imagine being into performance and not reading his articles.
Exactly, for sure. Cool. So after like getting an amazing response, this is like our third perf audit that we're doing, and this is going to be with DeviantArt, which is pretty popular among designers and I mean creative people as well. So what about you, Kush? Are you using DeviantArt? I mean, in your daily life, by any chance?
So I was using DeviantArt long time back for about an year or so. Uh, Not really right now, but I have used it a lot in past.
Okay. So I've even seen people using Chrome extensions that allows them to use DeviantArt on their homepage. So when they open up a new tab or like have those images flashed upon when they open a new tab just to see the creativity of different people from different continents.
True.
So yeah, I mean a couple of people, I mean pretty interested in that. So I guess it will be very helpful if these guys are able to make DeviantArt more performant, right?
Exactly. Considering this, DeviantArt.com has an Elixir ranking of 153, and the traffic is pretty huge. The optimization we're gonna discover today should be really helpful for them.
Exactly. So, able to see like right now when I'm able to see the Alexa ranking, it gives a lot of details regarding the bounce rate and the daily time that a user spends on this particular website and the number of page views that people are getting. So, pretty popular website both in the entire continent, in the entire world, I would say, seeing the graph over here, and especially not even just the east, but even west. So, okay, let's start off with them and first see as to what score we have got from PageSpeed for DeviantArt, right? So, hopping on to that, first of all, we did an PageSpeed Insight. We calculated the PageSpeed Insight score for DeviantArt.com, and what we are able to see is that we are getting a 24 score for desktop, which is quite low, right, Kush?
Right, this is something to consider, and this is pretty interesting. Yeah, quite low.
Yeah, and for the mobile it is like 43. So both of them are like even lesser than 50 that I mean just an average website is able to get it. So let's proceed on to as to what the things are that PageSpeed has suggested us to improve in this particular thing and yeah, let's take on step by step, right? Cool. So it first says about optimizing images. Okay, so what I'm able to see is that they have a lot of images on their web page as we saw, because like most of the images are uploaded by the designers themselves. And talking about designers, I'm not sure whether a lot of people like compress images before uploading them just for the sake of having a lossless image uploaded on the website, right?
Right.
So I guess something that should be taken care of by the website themselves to compress the website, to compress the images after they have been uploaded by the user. So what's shocking to me is that the page actually says that it can be reduced by 2.6 MBs by just with the reduction of by just with the optimization of the images. So isn't that huge, Kush?
Yeah, this is pretty huge, and if you see the images they are actually they can be reduced up to 99%, most of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm able to pretty easily able to see that, and what I can expect that, I mean, this is because this is because people have uploaded by themselves and they haven't compressed it, but it should have been taken care of by someone in the development team. But I guess when I see 2.6 MBs of reduction that is possible, what I can even think of is that when you're actually accessing these websites from your mobile network, how much of time will it take to actually load the entire website? What do you think of it?
Exactly, and also not the time it would take, but also the network usage it would incur on the
It would
user.
charge you, right? Exactly. So I guess I guess some bucks per MB which are charged, and if you're like doing some page refreshes or like going on to multiple other pages, it's seriously going to cost you a lot of bucks, I guess. Just visiting or I mean just using DeviantArt, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's huge. So let's proceed on to the next step as to what PageSpeed tells us about the optimizations that one can do, which is saying that your server responded in 1.5 seconds. Wow. So even the server response time is pretty huge. I mean, 1.5 seconds is a lot. What mostly people and even we do to try and reduce the server response time to less than 500 milliseconds or even lesser than that. I mean, it shouldn't be, I mean, a lot of optimizations that you have to perform, though it should be the case where, I mean, something less than 500 milliseconds should definitely be a benchmark that you should perform with every deployment. I can't expect, I mean, a server taking more than like 1.5 seconds to give back the response. What do you say, Kush?
Yeah, yeah, true. This is crazy response time. So I can hardly remember having seen response time in seconds. So it's usually in milliseconds. So this is quite large comparing to that.
Exactly. So what I can think of is that maybe they are doing some kind of query or getting the most popular, images or or most popular uploads by the user, and then like displaying them on their onto their homepage. Though if I think of, I mean, from the perspective of a website which is having a lot of visitors like every now and then. So I don't expect a server to actually make such queries in the real time, right? So this is something that should be really optimized. That like one can use simply some cached HTML for a specific duration and calculate it just for one request, and then serve it over the next some requests for some X minutes. For example, you can have a timer of maybe 10 minutes, and then have your entire HTML cached and like simply render it to the people who are coming in. So it will be just like taking some 1.5 or whatever time your server is going to respond with, like for just one user, but all the other users who are coming in the rest of the time for like X minutes, which might be like dependent upon to your way that you want to actually have it on your homepage. So I guess that should make it pretty performant and actually reduce a lot of server side effort that is currently having on the server end, right, Kush?
True, true. Exactly.
So first of all, like server-side optimizations are very much necessary in this particular case and should must be taken care of as soon as possible. Cool. So hovering upon the other issues that are being, I mean, told by PageSpeed includes eliminating render blocking JavaScript and CSS. So I'm able to see a lot of CSS and JS files in the head also, as we can see over here. If I hover up onto the head part and actually see as to what CSS files are loaded over here, which includes the entire CSS code that is used on their website. So this should not be the case, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, I'm not sure why these guys aren't using the critical CSS in place and like having it shifted down to the body and like serve it from over there instead of waiting for the user to actually think. I mean, get the first pixel rendered on their screen. So this is something that really needs to be optimized, considering that they are getting a huge traffic.
So
Cool. So yeah, you
it's
wanted to
not
say?
just a lot of CSS being blocking the render here, but I see even the CSS are too many. I mean, lots of CSS files are being fetched. They're not really
Exactly.
combining them
Yeah.
into one for some reason.
True, yeah. I mean, concatenation of CSS and JavaScript files should also be taken care of by the in the server deployment process only, right?
Right.
So that is something that they should really consider while when actually creating the critical CSS and even I mean taking the all the CSS the rest of the CSS onto their body page onto their body tag, like in the end.
Right.
Cool. So now hopping on to the other issues as told by PageSpeed, which includes the browser caching. So I'm able to see a lot of other third-party JavaScripts that are loaded in on onto this page, which are having a lot less, I mean, browser caching. So that is something that one cannot take care of exactly because at times these JavaScripts are actually I mean, modified by the third-party libraries, and you can't actually put a measure as to how early it will affect or how much it will affect or when it gets modified. So you won't be able to cache it. Though, from our understanding, what can be a better case is to actually think of the best time that you should and serve it from your server end instead of from theirs. So at that point of time, you'll be able to control as to how much caching or the browser caching time you should set on for this particular resources. Though at times these guys actually tell you to have it dynamic and like have it loaded from their server end so that any thing or any modification doesn't actually break your page load. Though it is something that you should really think about, and even having a lot of JavaScripts or third-party resources fed from your page won't be very beneficial. What you should even think about is that whenever you are adding a third-party script onto your web page, it will add some X amount of time onto your page load time, right? So it is very much necessary for you to even consider that what scripts you are loading and whether they are required enough or not, and whether they are even suitable or if they are giving you some redundant data that is available from like two third-party services, then you should really think about whether you want to choose one or not. So that is something that really one should look out for, right, Kush?
Right. So, and even if you're worried about the files changing on the third-party side after caching them, you can actually write a cron job and see how frequently these files get updated, and put a cron job that updates them regularly. That can be one thing that can be done.
Exactly. Though in that case, I mean, then the third-party services won't be able to tell if it breaks their page. So, I mean, that's why these guys are very adamant about not serving it from your server. But if you're really worried about your performance, then you should really consider whether you want to put a particular third-party service, third-party tag on your web page or not. Cool. So, hopping on to the next part, which includes, I mean, a couple of other issues told by PageSpeed, which includes minification of JavaScript and HTML and CSS. I guess this is something that includes the third-party scripts, and not a lot can be done by the DeviantArt themselves. But when it comes to minification of HTML and CSS, so that is something that they should really have in their deployment process, where it actually minifies all your static resources. So that is something that they should really look out for. Cool. So those were the optimizations that I can think of from the networking side for desktop. I'm not sure if a lot of other things are being told for mobile as well. Uh, though, yeah, it's exactly the same, I guess, apart from the images part. So images part should also be taken care of when doing. So I'm able to see a lot less image issues for mobile. So I guess they have done some kind of optimization or the compression at their end for when actually rendering from for mobile, but they are still lacking on desktop. So I guess there's some process that is not in place for the desktop, but it is for mobile. But still, even after that, I'm able to see some 830 kbs for the size reduction. So what I'm able to see is that, I mean, it says that it will be a mix of compression and resizing, and it won't be just compression. So when you're actually serving your images for your mobile website, you should actually think upon resizing it or having multiple versions or having multiple images with a different resolution specific to your desktop or your mobile. That way, it will be very much. I mean, it will help you to reduce the total size of images that you're serving from the backend, and even help you in actually reducing the page load time to a lot less. Cool. So, taking the next issue, which says about the render blocking JavaScript and CSS is again the same, and the server time is actually the same. So, can't say much about that, but yeah, that's about the networking performance issues that are being told from the PageSpeed insights. Let's now go on to the web page test as to what it says. So, what we are able to see from over here is that it takes somewhere around like 6.5 seconds to render DeviantArt.com, which is huge, right, Kush?
Right, right. We also see that there's something huge happening in the network thing, the long stress thing. Let's see what it actually is.
So the long part that I'm able to see is that it's taking a lot of time for actually the server to respond back. That is, it started on from like zero point 0.6 milliseconds, and then it took some 3.3 milliseconds that we can see from over here, and it took like around 2.7 milliseconds to actually get the entire response from the server side. So I guess that is pretty huge, and they should really see or look out for the optimizations that we have told from our side, and even optimize it further from their end, if possible, by adding some caches onto their database side or the query that they are actually making to make it, I mean, more performant, right?
Right. So, and Apu, this is the same thing which PageSpeed Insight was telling us, right? Server response thing.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, these guys agree regarding that, and they should. This is something that they should really optimize as soon as possible. So seeing the other issues, I mean, I'm able to see a lot of calls for the images, and I mean, a lot of CSS files getting loaded even before. I mean, the first render or the first pixel getting rendered onto the user screen. So, I mean, the optimizations that we told before for reducing the render time will definitely help even to have it less than, less than 2 or 3 seconds, and even one should really optimize it for getting the first pixel render time to be less than 1 second, I would say, right, Kush?
Exactly.
So I guess that is it from the networking side performance, and it's now over to you to actually discuss the rendering performance of DeviantArt.com.
All right. So, uh, as we all do, let's start by actually browsing DeviantArt.com after it has loaded on your site on the browser. So, I have this loaded on my end, and if you can see above, I
Yeah.
see a lot of jank while scrolling the website. Do you see it on your side too?
Yeah, I'm able to see all of this.
Okay, so all right. So this is one issue I see while browsing the website.
True. That
Okay,
is really hampering their performance. They should really look out for even the janking part.
right. So apart from the scrolling, I don't see much of interaction happening on the page. So maybe let's start why the jank is there. So let me fire up my DevTools and let's record. Let's do a recording in the timeline. So as usual, I'll start a recording and just browse. So let me just enable paint rectangles. Okay,
Wow, I was able to see a lot of paint rectangles while you were scrolling. There must have been a lot of things that were happening while on the scroll event itself, right?
sure. So let's dive into what's happening exactly. Okay, so here's my timeline, and I'll start a recording now and just scroll on the website. So while I'll scroll, I'll feel the jank, and the events that are actually happening are getting recorded. So that should be enough. Let's see else. So as we can see, there's a hell lot of paint going on the page. So while I was scrolling, and the most of the paint events are actually crossing the 60 FPS line. So this is something bad happening.
Exactly. That is like a worry for the DeviantArt. I mean, they should really look out for such paint issues that are happening because it will really jank your customer's experience, right?
Right. So maybe let's explore one or two paint events, why they're actually happening. So if we can see, there's a huge long stretch of green bar. So this is a paint event which actually took 28 milliseconds.
Wow,
And
28 milliseconds is huge. I mean, it is almost like using 2 frames just to do a paint, right?
exactly. So this is a paint event which actually rendered the complete page I can see.
Oh, yes.
And this is something good that Chrome people have put in the timeline recently, the paint profiler, which actually shows that the paint event you are actually investigating, what got rendered on that for that event. So if you can see the page, the section of the page which actually got painted in this event is seen here. And if you can notice, the header is actually uh, it looks like the header is fixed for this page. So there's some bug, I guess, in the Chrome profiler, paint profiler. It's showing it somewhere between the page, but I guess that is due to position fixed being applied on the header.
Yeah, that's what it seems to me also.
Yeah, so if you can just quickly verify if our assumption is right. So this was the header. Yeah, it is actually a fixed position thing, and this is something which is fixed position, right? So like we saw in our last case study, fixed position elements get repainted every time because the browser does not know when to repaint it, it being fixed on the page every time. So what it does, it repaints it every time. And we also saw that the hack to prevent this is actually promoting the element, the fixed position element, to its own layer, so it does not get repainted along with the other things. And basically the union of damaged regions does not happen with this element, right?
Right, definitely. I mean, and most of the cases we are able to see this particular issue happening on most of the websites. So this is something that really one should take care of, and it contributes mostly when a person is scrolling through the website and contributes to the most part for creating a jank.
Right. So a very small fix, but it can create huge performance impact.
Definitely.
So if we can just apply that hack to promote this into its own layer, let's see if that works for us. So what I did is I just used the transform hack, and if everything goes well, we should not get repaints for this header section.
Exactly.
Oh, let's do another recording.
Let's see how much time does it take for Chrome to actually uh, get the data for timeline this time.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, this time it seems a bit faster, but still it is actually pretty slow as what we can understand, right?
Yeah, if you compare to the previous versions of Chrome, this is quite slow.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what these guys are uh, doing extra now in timeline. Maybe figuring out the causes of the things which are happening bad. Maybe that's taking time.
true. That is one part of it. Though, I mean, to me, it even looks like that if they're like creating some images on the fly and like rendering it with your paint, with your commands, I guess that might also take some amount of time. Though I'm not sure as to what exactly is the reason for it. But if it will be a bit more performant, then it will surely help.
So I'm not sure what happened. I was retrieving the events in the timeline, and the timeline, the complete dev tools crashed for me. I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay, that seems a bit odd.
So let me just start a recording again.
So I guess it's happening the same way it happened last time, right? That
Yeah,
it went up to 31% and then took a huge amount of time after that before like retrieving the events in totality in your timeline. So, I mean, it's making it a bit hard for us, but now you have got your results back. So on to Kush now.
so this seems like a hack worked. The
Exactly.
pains are a lot lesser now. Still one or two pains crossing the 60 FPS line. We can see that now later, but we are quite better now.
Sure, yeah. I mean, just check if you are able to see some jank issues now or not. I mean,
Sure.
that must have really helped you.
Right. So if we just scroll the website, so not much of a difference, but yeah, I can see scroll getting better. So it seems like the scroll has the janks have localized on themselves on the page. So like here I don't see jank, but on this section particularly,
Okay.
I see this. It's joking for me. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe I think we should use the paint rectangles thing that the Chrome render tool provides us and see actually if there's anything getting repainted for us.
Sure, that should really help.
So if I just go into the rendering section and I check this show paint rectangles. Whoa, whoa, do you see this, Apurv?
Yeah, I'm able to see that. Okay.
So I'm not scrolling anything on the page. I'm just doing one section and it seems like a part of the page is getting repainted continuously.
Yeah, even I'm able to see that. I mean, that shouldn't be the case, right? Because you haven't done or haven't performed any sort of action right now. So what can be an issue which is triggering such an action?
Right. So on the overview, it seems like nothing is getting a change on the page, so why should the paints be happening? But if you look closely and notice here, there is a small GIF where my mouse is right now. Do you see
Sure,
that?
yeah, I'm able to see that. Yes.
So there's a GIF, and because it's an animated thing, it needs to be repainted continuously.
Oh, so you're trying to say that because it's getting repainted, it's actually making, I mean, the repaint across the entire element, and that's why that portion of your screen is getting repainted, right?
Yeah, so because it's animated and it needs to be repainted, so that is the reason why the GIF itself should get repainted. But we are seeing more than that. So actually, a section of the page is getting repainted, not just the GIF. So
Exactly.
like we saw in the earlier case study of hindustantimes.com, so there's something called union of damaged regions, and it is the exactly same thing which is into play here. So what is happening is you see a GIF here and you see a GIF here as well, and these two GIFs being on the same layer, the this layers damaged regions are getting union into one region. So what the browser does is it calculates the damaged regions, the regions which actually need to be repainted for every layer, and the GIFs being on the same layer, their regions get union. And there's a GIF here on the left, the GIF on the right, and it's one below and one on the right bottom. So basically these small GIFs themselves being just 10 pixel into 10 pixel, but if you union them, it creates a section which we actually are seeing getting repainted every time.
Wow, I couldn't have imagined that. I mean, these GIFs can contribute to even the jerkiness or the jank being caused onto your website. So one should really look out for as to when they are placing what they're placing, and like very specific into how they're actually performing onto your web page, right?
Exactly. So the solution is same here. We need to promote these small GIFs onto their own layer, so they don't actually get union with other things, other damaged regions. So if I just select one of these images, and I have the image selected here. So luckily I have a class on it, so I can just promote all the GIFs in one go. All right. So do you see the difference now?
Yeah, I'm able to. I'm not able to see any paint rectangles now.
Yeah, in fact, all the four GIFs are getting repainted, and nothing apart from the GIF is getting repainted now.
Sure, yeah. I mean, able to see that only the GIF part is like re getting repainted, but not the actual entire. I mean, the thing that we were seeing earlier, that is the reunion, right? The union of, I mean, of those elements.
Exactly. So we could even, so even if I'm scrolling right now, I see a lot less of Jang on the page, and we could actually verify this by taking another recording. So
Sure,
just
yeah.
just for our viewers, let's take another recording to see the real awesomeness now.
Let's see at how much time it takes this time.
Okay, so this is quite a mixed timeline record result we get here. So for the first half, we don't see much of the paints actually going from up, crossing the 60 fps line, but there are certain repaints happening. So this is the time while I was scrolling the upper part of the website. Okay, okay, still some repaints happening, and it seems like the complete page was repainted for this event. So maybe we can just check again what paintings have been happening when we are scrolling. Okay, I don't see any paints happening while I'm scrolling. So it's strange that the timeline is actually showing paintings being happening while I scroll.
So what I was able to see is that a blank rectangle occurring onto your timeline, right? So that is basically displaying the rasterization process in place, which was taking a lot of time. I'm not sure what actually triggered that. Can you just go on to that particular part?
So are you talking about the event?
Exactly. Yeah, this.
Okay.
So rasterization has taken a lot of time, and which is maybe kicking your frame to exceed the allotted time, which is 16 milliseconds, and is actually contributing to it. It might have happened that because of your several layers to be in place, that might have kicked in the compositing time, and actually the thing that has to be now taken care of by the GPU. So not pretty sure about resolving this particular issue for now. But yeah, I mean that's what it looks out to me.
Yeah, so that might be one issue. So there are a lot of GIFs on the page as we see, and we just promoted them each to its own layer. So there's a lot of transfer of textures happening between the CPU and the GPU. So that might be one reason.
Yeah, that is what it looks out to me for now.
Yep. It could be also that there are a lot of images on the page, not the GIF, but even the static images, and maybe getting ready to have them painted on the page is taking too much time for some reason. Not sure what the reason could be for that, but that is what the timeline is saying.
True.
Okay, so this is something we can research and figure out, but still we have got a lot of optimization done on the rendering part on this page, and we are seeing a lot of lesser jank while we scroll, and even while we are just viewing the page, right?
Sure, yeah. I mean, that contributed really well to reducing the actual graph that we were seeing earlier. Not sure about what now has taken place to actually make it a bit, I mean, exceed your 60 FPS for a while you're rendering the lower part of this particular page. So we'll surely research into that and get back to the actual reason of what it is about and what is the actual reason or the issue which is causing it. And it will be really beneficial for each of us to actually learn from this activity, right, Kush?
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So, cool. So that's it from our side, I guess. The networking performance, I mean, the networking issues have been told to the DeviantArt.com and the rendering issues as well. To summarize this particular video, what I'll just repeat myself regarding the networking performance that these guys need to take care of. First of all, it's about reducing their server response time, which is close to about 1.5 seconds for now. So they should really optimize to have it less than, I mean, in milliseconds, even not go beyond 1 second at all, and have a lot of caching in place at different parts as required by them. It totally depends as to what the architecture is at their backend, and we are not able to get to that for now. And apart from that, there's also the compression of images, which should be made sure when the people have uploaded images onto the deviantart.com, and they should really, first of all, compress it and then even resize it for the different devices that they cater to, and have different resolution of images so that I mean the best image that is being required for a particular device is served to it, and not the thing that is being generated for the desktop, right? That is the next part. Apart from that, I mean, there are some things that you should really have in your production deployment process. That is compression, minification, concatenation of different resources, just to reduce the number of requests that you're actually making, using multiple domains to cater to, and using CDNs, and a lot of other optimizations that you should really perform and have with every deployment. So that is something that should be really taken care of. And also, you should really focus upon getting your page speed score to, I mean, more than 90, 95 on 100, right? So that is something that you should really have in your deployment process, so that every build actually tells you as to how much page speed score you are actually getting for the deployment that you have done or you are actually doing. So that will really help you to be performant at every point of time after you do a commit or push a commit to your production environment. So that is it from the rendering part, for the networking part. Over to you, Kush, for describing the rendering performance issues.
Yeah, so if I were to talk about the rendering thing, one thing would be surely getting the fixed position elements, that is the header on the page, to be on its own layer, so does not get repainted every time. And the second thing would be just to get the GIFs again on their same layer, so they don't create a huge section on the page that needs to be repainted every time for the browser's renderer. Yeah, so that would be it from the rendering side.
Cool. I mean, that seems really well. And making do it, I guess it will really affect their page load time and the render time as well, and even their first pixel render time.
Sure.
So I'm looking forward to the optimizations being taken care of by the DeviantArt team, and get a more performant website for the end users, and even us who are actually even opening on the different mobile devices of ours, where the networking performance really needs to be taken care of so that we are charged a bit less. Right, Kush?
Exactly.
Cool. So that is us. That is it from our side. And please stay tuned for the coming performance audits, and even keep putting on the request for your performance audits of your websites. So we are really keen to even explore the different issues that are not just coming on a particular website, but to a lot of them, so that we can actually understand as to what the issue is, and even explore it further as we did on DeviantArt.com. Right, Kush?
And yeah, true. And we're also looking forward to your comments, feedback, suggestions on what we can do better in our live audits, in our blog post. Anything you would like to us to do better, just let us know in the comments or just tweet it out to us on PerfAudit.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that sounds really good. Cool. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Kush, for your time. Let's meet next for our next performance audit then.
Yeah, sure. Okay, see ya, Paul.
Catch ya.